Welcome back to Rise Podcast. But yeah, what's going on background? Rise Podcast episode 4. Like I said, there is going to be no cuts in this video. So if there's random stuff happening in the background, then so be it. But this episode is going to be a bit of a different one. So this is going to be about my coaching journey, right? Where I got to, or how I got to where I am today in regards to the coaching business, MJ Performance Coaching, how it started, where it all stemmed from. Hello, Willow. So one of my cats, Willow. And then really the work I put in to get to where I got to, and I guess what that required, and what my plans are for the future, and what I'm doing currently. So I'll take you through all of that because I know there's a lot of aspiring coaches out there, and unfortunately, you hear, you ask coaches for advice, and most of the time, say if someone DMs me for advice, it is really hard to give all the advice I want to give because there's a lot, right? There's a lot that goes into it. And I think a lot of people, when starting online coaching or wanting to pursue it, potentially do it for the wrong reasons, and they don't actually require the amount of effort you need to put in it, and I guess how hard the job actually is. Because one thing that I always had a perception of before I got into the job itself, even before I always knew I wanted to coach and help people in terms of fitness. I didn't know I wanted to be an online coach. I didn't even think it was a possibility for me. But I always just looked at online coaches and thought, wow, that must be a really easy job. Just sit at your desk all day, reply to messages. It's nothing like that. Okay, so if you expect coaching to be a really easy job, easy to get money and blah 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 blah, it's nothing like that. You're getting in it for the wrong reasons. You should never start coaching for the money side of it. Now obviously it gets to a point where it does become your job, so the business side of it does become a reality, but it should always start off as a hobby or something that brings you pleasure, that you just do because you want to help out. It should never be the case of, at least if you're starting fresh, right, that, oh, I want this to be my job because I know it's going to make me money and blah, 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 blah. Because most of the time it doesn't make you any money. And I'll take you through the whole story, but always do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for selfish reasons, because coaching's a service at the end of the day. It becomes a business, but it starts off as a service, and the service should always be number one. Like, you're helping with people in their lives, right, in terms of what they're wanting to achieve. Sometimes even you're there as a person for mental support, so you've got to be willing to take all of that on and not half-ass it. Right, so anyway, before I get into those specific topics, just wanted to give a little rundown of how things are going. Very exciting news. On the 26th of September, I'm moving out. So this will be one of the last podcasts and videos in this house. It's 19 days away. That's less than 3 weeks. I'll be moving to Cardiff. Flats all sorted out, leases agreed, everything done. I'll be the first person moving to that place, I believe. I'll be one of the first, at least. No one else lives there because it's like a brand new apartment complex. And am I excited? Hell yeah. Am I nervous? Yeah, I am as well. But it's the next chapter of my journey. What I always say as well, put yourself in uncomfortable situations, or at least I put myself in uncomfortable situations, because I know it forces me to do things that I don't want to and better myself as a human. I'm also going to be sipping on a caffeine-free Diet Coke. As of now, it's 3 p.m, so don't want any more caffeine now. But yeah, so I'll be moving out on the 26th of September. So excited. New chapter to my journey. I'll have like a little bit of a better podcast setup. YouTube videos will be a hell of a lot better as well. So I'm just excited for that. The weekend coming up, so in 7 days time, or even 6 days time now, I'll be going to watch the WNBF Supernaturals for the Saturday and Sunday. I'll be seeing a few people there, which is exciting, and my prep client Danny, he might be coming as well, just to get a little idea of what the competition side of things are like, and just to get him ready for his show, which will be, a month after that, really, which is also very exciting. That's going very, very well. What else have I got planned? Client meetup, October the 11th. I'm training with I'm training with Danny in Cheltenham at Trained by JP Gym on the, God, I can't remember the date. I think it's the 16th. I've got it in my calendar. It's all booked off. Had plenty of new signups this week, which is amazing. Inquiries are flying through, and that's a cool thing, right? You expect when it gets later to the year, when it's summertime, that maybe people are like, oh, I don't need to get lean for a holiday. And oftentimes, like, those people that just want to get lean for a holiday, they can't sustain it after. afterwards because they don't actually learn from the coaching and how to like make it sustainable around their life, right? It's just like a cool, get me lean in 8 weeks, I'm out, which is okay. Like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but it's cool seeing people come in at the times where you expect the least people to join, because they actually want to make a big impact on their physical health, right? Or whether it's bodybuilding or just generally trying to lose weight or better their lifestyle. That is really cool and exciting to see that people are, like a lot of people are after it right now, and that's what motivates me a lot. So I had plenty of sign-ups the last sort of week, and I've got 2 more starting the next 2 days. I just onboarded Luke, one of my best mates, which is really exciting to say. I've got one of my best mates since I was 3 years old getting coached by me now, which is really exciting. So Luke, welcome to the team, mate. But yeah, off of that, I don't think there's anything else. I've just had my mum's birthday, which has been nice. Things are going well in general for me in terms of like physique development, holding on, like building up to that 77 kilo mark range. So I'm kind of like floating between 66.5 and 76.5 and 77. So things are going up nicely, still maintaining a good body composition, which I'm very happy with. It is very tempting just to diet down again. However, I think what I'm going to do is just hold on for a little bit, maybe go up to 78, 79, 80, and then go into a dieting phase and just hold out there for a little bit, because I like to be a little bit leaner, especially if I know I can feel good. Like I've said to you guys before, I haven't been lean and enjoyed it for a long time, so I've got that urge to like get quite lean and just enjoy it, like still have all the normal functions of a human. I can still go out for food whilst being lean, because every other time I've been lean it's on prep, right? Super restricted. But yeah, that's been pretty good. Like, been watching a lot of Ganabolic, Joe Gann, if you know who he is. I love listening and watching people like that, because he doesn't like just post videos in terms of like his prep documentary, which is also very enjoyable to watch. It's just he speaks a lot of motivation and how to better his life and what you've got to do to get to certain places. And he's very successful, and I look up to people like that as well. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Nothing else. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But going on to the actual story that I wanted to get into, and we'll do some questions at the end as always. So I've written down in my notes a few things I wanted to cover off, but I roughly got a rough idea of what I wanted to speak about. But generally, like, started the gym when I was 16 years old. Before I did that, I did judo for many years, right? Over 6 years, I think, and I got a brown belt. So I was always getting coached in an instance, right? I always had someone I looked up to that I would follow and get guidance from, always learn more of. And I, from a young age, understood the importance of having someone there, even if things are going well for yourself, even if you think you know a lot, having someone there that can always teach you more and better, even if it's at 1%. I've always loved having someone behind me to help me with those specific things, because I always want to improve myself as an individual. That's what I've just had instilled in me as a young age, and I really grew fond of like that feeling of people helping me and putting in effort, and I love that feeling. It was really, really nice, and I always thought I'd love to be able to do that to someone. So that's where like the first instincts of, or inklings, I guess you could say, of me wanting to help others progress themselves, not necessarily physical fitness, just always wanted to be a person that helps. I think that's where it stemmed from. Now, started the gym when I was 16, and when I started, I had the guidance of my older brother who helped me out in the gym a bit, but then I remember my dad wrote me a plan literally on a piece of paper that I took a photo of, and it was like a 3-day split, and I just followed that religiously, tried getting stronger on every single movement. We wrote it down together, and I remember the excitement of my dad writing this plan down. I was just watching, I was like, oh my God, I get to follow a plan now, like tricep push down, bench press, and I got really strong at a young age. I remember I was benching like 150 at like 18, 19 years old, squatting 200 at 18, 19. It was pretty crazy. And that's all because I had a plan that I was staying consistent with, and I had people that I could ask. There was lots of people in my gym as well that were really strong power lifters, and I would look up to them and literally see them. Like I would look at them and think, oh my God, I want to be just like that one day. Seeing like my first day at the gym, I saw this guy called Kieran pick up 40 kilo dumbbells, I believe it was, or maybe even 50s, and bench press them. And I said to my older brother, I was like, oh my God, could you imagine if I could do that one day? Within like a year or two, I picked up the 50s and I was bench pressing the 50s. Those are like such cool feelings for me. But anyway, so my dad wrote this plan, And then where I was one of the first people in my school and my friends to start the gym. Like I was one of the first. I just got into it just because I had my dad and my older brother. A lot of people were still doing like football and rugby, and that's where I started bringing a few of my friends into the gym, like Luke that I just mentioned. One of my best mates since I was young, he started going to the gym with me. Akshay, one of my best mates as well, started going to the gym around that time, and they're both got insane physique. Akshay's like a crazy powerlifter now as well, on his own social media journey. So give Akshay a follow as well. Akshay Babu, very, very good, and he's got a lot of potential in terms of social media and stuff. But yeah, so helping out people like that always was just there, like, yeah, of course I'll help you out. Like, isn't an issue, like in terms of form and maybe a bit of food advice. Like I remember when I was 16, 17, bringing in meal prep into my sixth form class. Like it was, I remember it exactly. It was pasta, 75 grams of whole grain pasta, like 150 grams of chicken and spinach, like a handful of it. And then some single sour cream sauce with, or like cream, single sour cream mixed in all together. Bit of mushrooms, some peppers, and then some like seasoning. That's what my lunch be for every single day. And I felt like, oh, this is so cool. And I made the mistake that a lot of people make as well, which is when you scan like Tesco pasta, the macronutrients are in cooked weight. So like 100 grams is 170 calories or something, but I was weighing out raw weight. So I was doing like 100 grams is 170 calories. Whoa, but obviously it's like 350. So I made that mistake when I started, and a lot of people do too. But that's where, you know, I figured out a lot of my mistakes on my own. And that's where I've built up a lot of my knowledge just through my own journey. Pardon me, it's going to make me burpy. This is another side thing. Whenever I do my check-ins, I've got like a Monster or a coffee or a water, and it makes me so burpy. So if any of the clients are watching, any of the boys, any of the girls, and they're like, they know I always go, oh, pardon me, this drink makes me so burpy. Like every single check-in. I've really got to stop it, but this is going to happen during the podcast now, no doubt. I've sidetracked off of where I was. I completely forgot. Yeah, helping people at the gym, and then went to, you know, always providing that support for people getting stronger, blah, blah, blah. School was one of the only people that did it. So people would ask me, oh, how are you doing this? Da, 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 da. Didn't have much knowledge. It was just all out on my own whim, right? Went to university, slacked off a little bit for the first couple of months and went straight back on it, started eating a lot more, just didn't really track things. I think, you know, I wish I did track things more and I had someone to guide me there when I was younger, because if I did, the amount of progress I would have made would have been so much more, without a doubt. Like, the amount of progress that I made with my previous coach, Finn, within like a year period, it was more than a year. I don't know exactly how long it was now, like a year and a half. Honestly, would have taken me like 4 years to make by myself, just because that's an awesome thing about coaching is you realize that there's small things that you don't realize you're making mistakes on, that they pick up on. They look at it as, like I do with my clients, as an objective point of view, not you looking at your own physique as your number one biggest critic. And, you know, they can make the changes for you. You don't need to think about them. They're always going to do the right thing for you if they're a good coach, which I can say I do for all my clients, which is why they get the results that they do, right? It's just about putting in the effort. Now, yeah, so university, started helping a bit more people. There were a couple people that used to ask me for like training splits and a bit of help with food, and I would help them with calories and what food options to eat. Like, I was always doing that throughout the second I started gym, just naturally. I think because people saw I made some good progress, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, and then maybe like my mum's friends or my brothers or my sister's friends would be like, oh, could Mikey maybe give me like a diet plan or help me with this nutrition? And I'd just give some rough advice, right? Not actual coaching. It was just more like advice. And then I got my first coach in year two of uni, yeah, Tristan Barnes. If you guys know him, it was absolutely fine. I just think it wasn't for me at the time. Tristan was starting out then. I was one of the first people he coached, or maybe he was coaching for like a year. I actually can't remember now. And that's where I got Tristan. That's where I was exposed to the like online coaching side of things. And that was in maybe 2021. So that was, bloody hell, 4 years ago now. Wow. And 2021, 2022. And I left Tristan. We started a prep. I didn't enjoy it. I left Tristan. Got another coach, Team Ben Bow. I'm not sure if he coaches anymore. He might. I don't know. But that was a different type of coaching where there was no Loom. It was all done through WhatsApp. Just send photos. He writes message replies. That was it, right? My plan and my everything was on a PDF document. And then any changes to it would just be posted on the WhatsApp in written form. So I'd have to like scroll up and look at the food and the training, and my training didn't change all prep, like all these different things. And, you know, he was a good coach. I enjoyed it all. It was fun and nice having like a mentor there as well. And I asked him about like, oh, I'd love to be an online coach. This is funny. Like I remember messaging him being like, oh, I'd love to do what you do one day. Like it's so awesome. And I just remember having that conversation with him. But then, you know, still helping people out in the meantime. And then I signed on with Finn. And that was like 8 months before I started the previous prep. So that was like March 2024. Yeah, March 2024, I started with Finn. So, you know, that was like a year and a bit ago. And that's where I really saw what actual online coaching was, I guess you could say, with like the amount of effort, energy, education that Finn gave was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. Like fell in love with it straight away. And I was like, holy shit, I would love to do this one day. And I would like ask him advice. He'd give me some advice here and there, but Finn's very, very busy now. He's uber successful. So shout out to Finn, absolute legend. Love Finn loads. That's Finn Natural Physiques, if any of you are wondering. And yeah, so that was like my first real exposure to coaching, and I had some ideas in the back of my mind of me wanting to do it, but I wasn't too sure like how I would get it started. I'd ask him a bit of advice, blah, 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 blah. And then that's where I saw Josh from Natural Physiques as well, one of Finn's clients, start coaching. He won an overall and his coaching absolutely blew up. He's a very successful coach now as well. And I took a lot of inspiration from that. I'm like, wow, Josh is 19 and or 18 at the time, I think. And he's had all this success and he's done so well. And it wasn't necessarily about the success. It was like, he's 18, 19, working at Curry's, which is the job that I worked when I was his age as well. And now is an online coach and like doing well and learning as he goes along and really chasing his dreams. And that lit a fire under my bum. That's for sure. Is my mum arriving home now? Oh, she is. Okay, I'm going to have to pause the podcast in a second when she arrives. She's just got a McDonald's because that's what she called me. She called me before this podcast. But we were speaking about Josh and where that led into. I'll go on to that after this little pause. Right, I'm back after that quick little pause. My mum's just next to me on the sofa. She's got a McDonald's. I just had a little bite of it. It's a double quarter pounder. Oh, they're so good. But going back to where I was. So I was speaking about Josh and how that kind of lit a fire under my bum in terms of the coaching side of things. And realistically, what happened after that is like I started asking Finn more questions, my coach, really soaking in the information he was giving me and how he actually coached. And I was like, I know I can do this because I've always helped people in and about, say, like nutrition and their blah, blah, blah. And like I coached myself for like 4 years. I learned a lot. I was really, really obsessed with educating myself as much as I could when I was like, I guess, coaching myself. And I would always watch so many videos like Greg Doucette. I know that sounds dumb, but I got a lot of education from him. I got a lot of education from team, what's it called? 3D 3D Muscle Journey. So they're really good source of education. I would just constantly listen to people to pick up things like throughout my journey, and it taught me hell of a lot. And that's when I started asking Finn. That's why I created my own sheets in October 2024, I think, is when I created my own coaching sheets. And this is where the exciting part of it starts. I want to make sure I haven't missed anything that I wanted to touch on. Just helping my friends, helping my younger brother, loving the feeling of someone who knew more than me giving me advice and me learning off of that. My previous coaches, the preps, and now it's the exciting stuff, right? So I started in October. That's when I started MJ Performance Coaching. Realistically, right? It was more the case of I officially started coaching my little brother, and I started posting on my story. I said, hey, I'm taking on 5 free clients to start my coaching journey. I got maybe 12 people reach out to me, and I took like 6 or 7 on now. Don't get me wrong, I think only 2 out of the 6 or 7 actually put in the work, actually put in the effort, and both of them are still with me to this day. So I've got Owen, who's been with me since the start, and Leon, my younger brother, who's been with me since the start. Those were like my first ever 2 like proper clients. It's okay, don't worry. So they can't hear because I got the mic on. My mum's phone just started playing noise and she's like, ah, it's fine. But yeah, so those were my first two clients, and realistically I told them, my little brother knew obviously, but for people that signing up, I said, hey, like I'm just starting the coaching, like I'm doing it for free because I'm learning the ropes, and I, you know, in terms of like how I want to coach people, the systems I want to use, obviously I've got the education. And as I started posting more, I started posting more of me working with them, like doing the check-ins, like posting photos on the actual social media of me doing it, a few educational bits here and there. Posting my journey was like one of the main things. And then I started realizing, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting results. Like Owen had an absolutely crazy transformation. My younger brother lost a load of weight as well. He had a crazy transformation. I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. And still didn't have any inkling that I wanted it to be like a full-time job. I was literally doing it for the fun of it, right? It was all for fun. And then I started taking more people on. So I started charging, I think it was like £25 at first. And, you know, I got a few people on. Funny enough, like 3 weeks ago, I had someone reach out to me going, hey, mate, I'd love to start coaching now. And he was one of the first people that inquired when I was charging £25 a month. He's like, are you still willing to do £25 a month? And I was like, sorry, mate, I can't do that anymore. I wish I could help everyone out. But it's obviously my job now, so it's a different situation. But after, started charging a little bit, and that's why I started leveling up my sheets. I paid someone quite a lot of money to create like professional Google Sheets for me. I think it cost me like £600. It was a lot. It was not worth it. I'll tell you that much. £600 for Google Sheets. I could have just asked ChatGPT to create them for me probably, and that would have been for free. But anyway, I was way too hyped, and boom, there started the journey, right? I stayed consistent with it for not for as long as I could, because I'm still doing it, right? I stayed consistent, did not miss a check-in, always posted. Like I stayed consistent with my posting. Now, don't get me wrong, there was times like I did not want to post. There was times that I was like, oh, I double guessed myself. I'm like, can I really coach this client? But I was like, everyone starts somewhere. So I was like, I'm just going to keep going. Like I'm doing it for the fun of it. This isn't my job. There's not enough pressure. If someone leaves, cool, I've got my full-time job. This is when I was working as a medical sales representative, my previous job. I was doing that full-time working from home. So that was a massive benefit for me as well. So little fast forward, it started getting to the end of the year of 2024, started getting a bit more clients. I think I was maybe on 10 at this point, charging around £50 per month. Really scared to increase my prices because, you know, I wanted to provide the best service I could, but I didn't know if I was worth more. But then I started seeing like results coming in and people messaging me like, hey, like, could you help me out? Because I think they heard that I was a bit cheaper and stuff, and started taking on more. And it started to get to the point where a lot of my free time was spent in terms of educating myself as much as I could to get better at the coaching, but then also towards my clients. I had like 10 to 15, or no, it was more like 8 to 12 if I'm being realistic. But I would speak to them as often as I could, always doing form reviews, always messaging them, like making sure things are on point, because I wanted to make sure it was as perfect as it could be. And I still do that, but obviously I've got more time, so I can do that with every single client. And that's where prep started as well. So I started my big prep that I had now, my most successful prep, and January time hits and things start going better, right? I got offered a promotion for my previous job. So I got offered to be a regional sales manager, which for my age was a good chunk of money, that's for sure. A lot. I would have been very happy with it, with like bonuses. I would have had a free car. I would have had a company car that I can drive for my own use and their use. So a lot of benefits to it. And they were like, oh, Mikey, you know, you can try it out for a month or two and you can go back to your old job if you want, or try it. And I was like, I'll try it out. But I didn't accept it just as of yet. So fast forward through January to March time, things started picking up more and more and more. And I started getting more clients. Like I was maybe on like 15 to 20 at this point. And because of how much effort I put into my clients, quite literally every single waking moment, during that time I was coaching or working. So literally I would wake up very, very early. I would do a lot of coaching work. I would start my job at 8:30. Any second in between my actual job that I had a chance to do more coaching work, I would. I would do as much as I could. Any second there was a little break, I would boom, straight on it, because I was working from home, right? A massive benefit. Like I had my computer there with my coaching and my normal job. Like I'd still do my job exactly what I needed to do, but I'd do as much I could, work as hard as I could. Like I worked harder than most people so I could put more effort into the coaching. And after work, I'd go to the gym. I would straight back from the gym, straight client work, right? Instantly making content, filming YouTube videos, making Instagram reels, Instagram stories, like planning out my content, what I wanted to do all the time, like boom, boom, boom. And this had a bit of an impact in terms of, as you guys know, I've spoken about like previous relationships and stuff, and that started having a bit of an impact where I started neglecting other sides of things because of how much I loved what I was doing. Like I wanted to put in all that effort. Like when I started in October time, the second I started getting the clients on, I was like, wow, I think I've found like my calling. Like this is exactly what I want to do. I've fallen in love with it completely. And that's when I started like putting in every single ounce of energy I've got into it. And I started like missing out on a lot of things outside, I guess. And I'm so glad I've done it, don't get me wrong. Like there's no regrets, because I would not be here where I am today. But like my coach Finn was like, Mikey, like spending a lot of time in your coaching and stuff. And I remember like, just give yourself a bit of a break, mate. Like it's hard, like it is hard work. People don't realize like how hard it actually gets and stuff, especially whilst working a full-time job. So it got to the point where I had like 25 to 30 clients, maybe 20 to 30. I can't remember the exact number of when I was still working the full-time job. And this is where like I was like, oh my God, I'm non-stop working. There was no ounce of free time for me, because I'd put most of my check-ins on the weekend, because I'd do a few during the weekdays, but I'd also work in on prep. And then, yeah, so weekends were absolutely fried for me. And I'm just trying to think where I want to take it on from here. And 25 to 30 clients, yeah, started getting busy. But the most important thing, which I think carried on pushing me forward, was how much I loved doing it. I didn't want to take a break. Like I remember like a few family members, like my older brother, he would be looking out for me to be like, Mikey, like don't burn yourself out, because you can burn yourself out very easily because of the amount I was working. And I was like, I didn't really understand it because of how much I loved doing it and how badly I wanted it to work. And I just kept working. I didn't care how I felt. And oftentimes that's one thing I'll say is like, if you really want to be the best at something, or you want to push it to a level that, you know, you want to make it your job, or you want to stand out more than others, you're going to have to sacrifice a few things here and there. Like I sacrificed all of my free time for it, and it didn't feel like a sacrifice because of how much I loved it. That's one thing I'll keep reiterating is, you know, don't, with coaching, like don't get to the point where you hate doing it, because then you start doing it for the wrong reasons. But yeah, it started to like get to the point where I thought about potentially quitting my job, but I was like, I want to hit like 30, 35 clients before I want to do that. But every time I hit a milestone, I'd increase the milestone, or maybe I'll wait till then, or maybe before I've got this much saved up, or maybe before I'm making this amount per month. And that was all that was going through my head. And I just wasn't sure when I wanted to do it all. And it got to the point where I remember having a conversation with my my previous partner, where this is where it all kind of went like uphill for me, but downhill in terms of the relationship, I guess you could say, where we're having a conversation. And I was like, because most weekends I was working flat out, right? So I unfortunately, and not very good of me, I didn't give much time to the partner. And obviously that's not how it should be. You should always have balance. But that's where I was like, what if like today I got like 10 inquiries through and I needed to work the whole day, because I'm going to do whatever it takes to get me to my dream, which is what I felt like was my vocation. Like I'm going to put all the effort in. Like, what do you expect me to do? So I expect you to put it to the side and like prioritize me. And that's where I realized my priorities were completely different. I was like, this is way too important for me. Like, I'm helping out so many people. I love this. Like, this could be my job. I'm at the breaking point of quitting my old job to making this my full-time job, and it got too much for me to balance prep, that like the relationship and the coaching business. So I knew one of them had to go, and obviously the job was going to go anyway. And it wasn't just because of that, right? There's a plethora of things behind the scenes. But once that really happened, I was like, right, now there is no excuse I've got not to go absolutely full throttle in it. And I was like, do you know what? I'm quitting my job. I said, if it doesn't work out, like, I do not recommend people to do this, by the way, because I was making enough from the coaching already to support myself. So I was making more than my previous job already through the coaching, so I would have been okay. So I waited to that point before I even thought about it. Like, I made sure for like 2-3 months I was making a consistent income, and I knew it was going to be okay. So don't just quit your job out of nowhere if you've got financial responsibilities. But I was at that point, but I kept delaying when I wanted to quit. I was like, oh, I should wait to this many clients. And I was like, do you know what? Boom, I'm quitting. Literally quit the next day. I didn't have to have a notice period. I finished working the next day, and I was like, boom, time for full throttle. And this is where I really blew up in terms of the coaching side of things, because obviously my prep got quite a bit of traction as well. I did well in my bodybuilding shows, and this is where more and more clients started coming in. Like, I remember there was 1 week, I think I had like 14 people sign up in 1 week. I was getting like 30 inquiries per week. It was crazy for a certain period of time. And it got to the point where, this is one thing I'll say as well, like, don't do it for the money side of things, right? And the most important thing for me was my clients, okay? And it got to the point where I hit a certain number of clients, and I was getting so many inquiries. I'm talking so many. And like, most clients were joining. And it hit a point where I was like, I know my coaching service is going to go downhill if I take any more clients from here. I could have probably got to near enough 80, 90 clients at that point. But I was like, right, Mikey, what is important? Like, yes, on one hand, I could have all this money, which at the time I honestly didn't give a shit about, if I'm honest with you. Or I can carry on doing the coaching for the reasons that I started it, provide an amazing service for the clients that I've got, and not overdo it, right? Because if I took on all those clients, the quality of service would have gone down, and then I just wouldn't have been a good coach, right? I would have been doing it for the wrong reasons. I remembered the reasons I was doing it from the start, and that was to genuinely help people out, for the passion that I had for the sport, for the passion I had of helping people make a difference. And then that's where I said, I put on my social medias, I'm not taking any more clients on. And I didn't take any more clients on for a month and a half. That was during my final 2 shows where I had the most traction on social media, and a couple weeks after the shows. Like, at that point is when I had most people messaging me about coaching, most people out signing up, but I was not willing to sacrifice why I truly, truly started coaching and what I want to provide for my clients and the connection I've got with them and the service they get, for something that is realistically not going to provide me any happiness in the grand scheme of things, right? What I get my joy from out of this job is, yes, I do get money out of it. It's my job, obviously. But I don't get money out of the content, or very, very little. Like, I'm talking very little. Like, TikTok, I don't. Instagram, I don't. YouTube is minuscule. But I don't do it for the reasons of the money. I do it because, like, I love sitting in front of the camera, chatting to you guys, inspiring people. Like, I do that through my coaching too, hopefully, but I want people to like listen to my story and see what I do, know it's possible for them, because a year back, I would have never imagined to be in the position I'm in. So yeah, I paused my coaching, did not take any more clients on. I stopped at a number, and I was like, I am making sure I provide the best service I possibly can for every single one of these clients, so they have an amazing time, they get great results. I prioritize their health, prioritize their journey. Like, that was the most important thing for me, and that's what I did. I stuck by my word, and I'm proud of myself that I did that, and I would not change that for whatever reason, like for anything. I would never change that. Best decision I ever made. And as I started getting out of prep, and as I started getting better at the coaching itself, because I generally like blew up relatively quickly. I was really good at the coaching side of things, but I guess the systems in terms of like how to make things easier for myself or smoother for my clients, I learned along the way, right? I didn't necessarily like, I'll say this as well, like, I have signed up to a mentorship before. Was it worth it? If I'm honest, no. Like, I wasted money. Like, I think the only thing I got out of a mentorship was I was paying a good chunk of money. I signed up to it for like 6 weeks, by the way. I paid a lot of money for it, and it was like, holy shit, like I'm paying a lot of money for it. I've got to make the most of me where I am right now. So I started working a lot harder in my content, my engagement, my speaking to people. Therefore, I put into my clients, even though I was already doing my absolute best, I just ramped it up even more. But in a sense, yeah, I did overwork myself and I was burnt out, but was I going to stop? No. Like, no matter how burnt out I was, no matter how mentally drained I was, I have no chance I was stopping. Like, even in the depths of prep, there was no chance. I would go, 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 go. So mentorship wise, I think they can be good. Do I regret it? Yes, I do. I'm just telling you my experience. Like, I wish I didn't get a mentor. I wish I saved that money. And I think the best way to learn is create your own coaching style, create the way that you work, your relationship with clients. You do not want to make it salesy. Like, that's not what coaching's about. Okay. And that's what those mentorships kind of change it into. And for some people it works out well, right? It does, but for some it doesn't. And I think I joined it at the right place at the right time, so my numbers started going up, so it looked like the mentorship was working. But then I realized, like, no, it's not. Like, I'm just wasting my money. I'm leaving this, because if it was working, like, why would I ever left, right? I could have kept going up and up and up. But yeah, after all of that, like, pause on clients, prep finished, and then as I started getting back to normal, I was like, right, okay, I'll start letting inquiries go back in. Obviously carried on going up, like, still every single week things are growing, the team's getting better and better every single week. It's like the caliber of people on the team is fantastic. And yeah, like, that's generally like the story of how things went. I don't know if there was anything else I needed to specifically touch on there. Just like, yeah, okay, there are a few things in terms of like the struggles that I don't think you realize is coaching isn't what people expect, right? The amount of effort, if you want to be a good coach, that you have to put into an individual. Say if you've got 50 clients, right? For them, they're only working with you, right? They've got one person, but I've got 50 people, right? Let's put a random number out there. And why would you provide something better to someone else than the other person, right? You're not going to give someone a rubbish service and someone an amazing service. I put maximum effort into each of my clients, and I always will. And it's something that I can deal with, right? Like, I am absolutely fine helping someone, obviously, with their physique goals, but I'm also there as a friend mentally, like any problems they've got outside of the gym. Like, I'm always helping, always responding on a daily. They never wait ages for replies. I always get my check-ins done. They never wait, right? All these different things. Obviously, if things are busy, it's different. Like, sometimes things can get in the way, but like, now to this day, like, I still have realistically no free time unless I'm filming content. Maybe like half an hour I'll sit downstairs and relax. Like, and this isn't me complaining, this is just giving you the reality of, if you want to be a good coach that provides a good service, right? I wake up, I start work at like 6 a.m, start getting back to messages, check-ins all the way through, I gym, replies, form feedback all the way, and I'm literally working until 10 p.m. every single day, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Now, is there times in between that where it's a bit down? Yeah, it does get chill and stuff, but you're never not working, okay? Because you're always thinking about that one client that might be going through a hard time, and you sympathize for them, and you want to think of ways to help them better. You'll get messages, and obviously no complaining, okay? I'm not complaining. And that's the one thing, do not complain when you're a coach as well, because you put yourself in this position and people trust you, right? So I will always put in maximum effort, and I always want to try the most. And it gets to the point where sometimes I'm like, holy shit, yeah, I haven't ate a meal and it's 6 p.m, or I haven't drank much water today, or I'm absolutely shattered, I haven't slept a lot. But guess what? Like, I love it so much that it doesn't feel like I'm making those sacrifices. I guess that's like the end of the story. But if get the part of the story, the like main part of it, but like, when you start, you've got to be willing to say to yourself, first off, I am willing to do this job for free for the next 5, 10 years, however long it takes, or like have 0 clients, 5 clients, 10 clients, until it eventually happens, right? That's what I said to myself. I said, I will work at my old company for 5, 10, 15 years, however long it takes, until the coaching becomes a thing. I was willing to put in all the time and all the effort, no matter how long it took, because the second I started it, I realized that is a job I wanted to do. This is what I want to do in my future. There's nothing else I want to do, so I'm going full throttle in it. Like, I will do whatever it takes. And that's another thing, consistency. Like, Don't 1 month put in maximum effort, post loads and be really good with your clients. The next month you're burnt out and you're tired, and then you don't want to put in any effort. And then the next month you're back, right? So what if you're burnt out? Do you want to do it or do you not want to do it, right? Like, how do you expect the people that are successful in things get to where they want to be? Do you think it was easy for them? Like, do you think they were handed it? Some people were, like, some people do get handed things, but most of the time they're not, right? It's self-made. Like, they did the things that other people aren't willing to. Like, I'm sure if someone who didn't want to be a coach started doing a coach and then got put under the, like, you know, the amount of work I had to do or the things I did, they wouldn't like do it because they didn't have the passion for it. You've got to have the passion to be able to put in that work. There's no other way that you're going to be willing to put in the work to become the coach that you need to be, right? There's a lot of work that needs to be put into it, and you won't put in that work unless the passion is genuinely authentic. Like, you've got to be doing it for the right reasons if you want to see yourself doing well. Like, look at all these amazing coaches out there: AJ Morris, Finn, you've got Reese, like all these, Josh, all these brilliant coaches, Noah. Like, I'm listing off a bunch of random coaches I can think off the top of my head. There's even more, like Tim, or the pro coach team, or the physique pro, natural physiques. But there's so many. I could keep going and going. All the American ones too. Do you think that they work 1 hour a day and that's it? No, obviously not. They work all the time. Like, this is their life. Like, they enjoy it. They're doing it for the right reasons. And if it was a job, like, it's unsustainable. That's why it's got to be a mix of, yeah, it's my job, but then also, like, I'm doing it because I want to do it. So those are a few things in terms of, like, be willing and understanding that there are a lot of hard times and it does get really hard, and you will probably have to make some sacrifices, just like a prep. You don't need to, but it might just take a bit longer. But do it for the right reasons. Always educate yourself, always be willing to learn more and get better week on week on week. Like, never stop trying to improve. Don't basically, like, the second you stop caring about your service and improving is the second you'll get left behind, right? Coaching and the gym and everything is ever evolving. Like, things are always getting better, and that's where realistically you need to stay on top of it, because you can't be that coach that thinks, oh well, back in my day this is what this worked, but now it's come out that other things work and clients work differently, different mindset, different types of people. You've got to adjust, and you've got to learn how to work with different people too. And in terms of, like, how I learn everything as well, it was more through just me picking up through my own coach. That's my number one tip, is if you want to be a coach, get your own coach, right? Learning through my own experiences, learning through my coach, researching hell of a lot, and then learning through my clients too. Like, every single client you should learn from, and always better. Like, you will make mistakes, but that's where you're honest and you hold your hand up. Pardon me, or the Diet Coke sitting at me, but you hold your hand up and you say, yeah, I made this mistake. Guess what? I won't make it twice, right? That's what you've got to say to your clients when you're starting off. Like, I might make mistakes, but the one thing I won't do is make the same mistake twice, because I'll learn from it, right? You've got to be willing to do that as well, not just say it, right? And actually deliver what you're going to say to clients too. Now, in terms of, yeah, like, it was my dream, obviously. The second I started it, I knew this is what I wanted to do, so I wasn't going to stop regardless of what it took. That's, like, why I'm so excited to go to Cardiff too, is just because of how even more full throttle I'm going to be able to go with all of this. The content, the coaching, like, I'm going to be able to do a lot more things. So, you know, that's an exciting part of it. And I'm always going to be working harder and harder, right? I'm never going to stop working as hard as I do. Or maybe one day when I'm older, but who knows? And then, yeah, like, when people that say, like, you know, want to quit coaching, quit their job right from the start to become a coach, like, I worked full-time job for, like, even I got to the point where I could have easily quit my job, but I didn't. I carried on working. I was working a full-time job, like 45 hours per week, medical sales rep. I was traveling all over the place, and I still managed to do it. So, like, you don't need to quit your job to become an online coach. But then, like, to touch on top of that as well is, they finally, like, offered me the actual regional sales manager job. I know I mentioned this in the previous segment, more pay rise, blah, blah, blah. And at this point, like, I still hadn't got to the client point where, like, I didn't know if it was going to work or not. But because I truly believed in myself, I declined the job. I said, no, like, I'm not going to take the promotion. I want to go back to where I was, because I knew if I took the promotion, I wouldn't have enough time. Like, there would be no time for me to be able to do the things that I really wanted to do, improve my coaching, actually try and make it become my career. And I knew the previous role allowed me to do that. And even though it was more money, I got a car and it would have been a really good job for my age. And I got a promotion in like 6 months from working in that place. And I would have been like the youngest regional manager for that company. I still declined it. Like, a few people told me not to. I had a lot of people tell me, like, Mikey, follow your dreams. But a lot of people as well said, like, oh, maybe just take the job and just be safe because it's a safe route and da 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 da. But I really believed in myself and I knew that I was doing it for a reason. So I sent it. I was like, no, I'm not going to take the job. Like, I'll carry on working this old job and I'll eventually quit. Obviously, I didn't tell it to them in that way. But yeah, hopefully that's helped. That's a little bit of a background story of how things have happened for me. And more of the story is be willing to put in copious amounts of work, stay consistent, do not give up, do it for the right reasons. And if it's meant to happen, it will happen. And if you truly believe in yourself that it will happen, just keep working until it does. Simple. Like, most people give up before it actually happens, right? And don't listen to all those people out there that say, oh, coaching's saturated and everyone wants to become an online coach and they don't have the education and stuff. Guess what? We all start somewhere. Like, you will start, like, bloody, like, don't listen to those people that want to put you down. There's a lot of coaches out there who are very successful and, you know, they say mean things about coaches who are wanting to start. And, you know, it does make you feel like, oh, what if I'm going to get judged by the coach who's really successful? So what? Like, screw him. It doesn't matter. Like, do your own thing. This is your life. If you're genuinely providing help for people and you're you know, providing an amazing quality of service and you're improving yourself, so what? Like, just do it. It doesn't matter what others think. It just matters about you and your clients, right? That's it. So that's what I'll end this segment off of. And the next thing I'll go into is what's happening next and like what my plans are. But I need to go to the toilet, so I'll pause this and then I'll catch you in the next part. I'm quite literally just about to sit down, eat my food and edit this podcast or just export it all. But I just wanted to jump in and interject very quickly because I knew there was going to be a few things I forgot to touch on. Most important thing is, as well, there are a hell of a lot of people out there who helped me get where I am today, whether I've asked them for advice through Instagram, people in my gym I've spoke to, lots of coaches I look up to as well, family members, friends, and other people just in general who have helped me and got me where I am today, just in regards to support and being open and honest in terms of just giving me feedback. Not feedback, I guess you could say advice. Yeah, advice is the right word. And obviously I do that for people as well. So, you know, if you need any, feel free to reach out whatsoever. So feel free to reach out whenever. Bloody hell, can't speak in this little segment. I think I spoke way too long when I was filming the podcast. But last little thing as well, yeah, so if I haven't mentioned your name directly, obviously you know who you are. I appreciate every single person that has helped me throughout my journey and continues to help me. I love every single one of you, and all the people watching as well, all my clients. I love you more than you bloody know. So yeah. And in terms of future plans, because I didn't think I went over future plans, just carry on improving my coaching service, carry on being a better human being just in general, as I always say, carry on striving for more, but make sure that I'm enjoying life at the same time and, you know, not overdoing it at times, but, you know, that's kind of what I like to do. Keep growing my social media. I definitely got some big social media goals for next year. You know, like ideally 50k YouTube, 100k TikTok, Instagram I'm not too fussed about, if I'm honest with you, and just carry on being the same person I am. Don't change. And yeah, moving house, that's pretty much it. Those are the things that I've got coming up next. So back to the normal podcast itself. I just wanted to jump in and interject a little bit. Okay, last little bit. And you know, I hope that you guys appreciate the sort of honesty of all this. Like, I just want these podcasts to be a form of like inspiration and education, I guess, as well. I'm never going to lie about anything. I'm always going to be honest about the truth of what things have happened. And it was a hard time, but I worked all the way through it. And as I'm sure you guys can too. But I will never like make things sound better than they actually are, and I'll always tell the truth of like what's going on and like how I got to where I am and stuff. So, you know, if you've got any questions specifically about this, fire away in the comments, like let me know. I'll shoot you a reply. I always want to help as much as I can, really. But in terms of questions, I only got a few questions, so this last little segment won't take too long because I don't know, I have no idea how long I've been recording for. But first question is from Bronk Goes Gym. Top tips for the first few days post-show. So first few days post-show is carry on checking in with your coach every single day. Like say, hey, like usually they'll say to you like, oh, carry on checking every single day. But if they don't, just say, hey, is it okay if I just check in every single day? Because one, you're still going to be sending check-in photos. So that keeps you accountable to make sure that your check-in photos look good, right? You don't want them to look horrible. But then secondly, just appreciate that, like the time that you've been through, like really be like, okay, I sacrificed a lot during this prep and I dieted for this X amount of long. I can hold it together for another couple weeks. And just, you know, if you've got a good coach, like depending on the situation, it would have put you on a good like recovery diet or reverse diet, whatever the case is. But if you know there's certain things that are gonna sort of make it easier for you, communicate with that with your coach. If you're like, hey coach, like I know you've put 100 grams of veg here, but I generally think of me having 250 grams of veg, it's gonna help me stay a lot more accountable to the diet rather than there's a chance of me going off plan. Like tell your coach that, right? But then also like with off-plan meals, limit them. Like I would honestly say 1 a week and account for it, like make up for it in your macros. Stay active, like still do a little bit of cardio, still do some steps. I know you don't want to, but it will make a massive difference. Keep your water intake good. Like don't just start forgetting to take your water, because you can hold on to a lot of water because of that as well. Like try not to consume too much sodium, like ramp it up slowly, back to like, you know, where you don't have to track it, and just be open and honest with your coach. That's like the main thing. But just realize like once you go through this initial first couple days, first couple weeks where it's really tough and like your appetite's probably worse than it was on prep, just know you'll come out the other end better, and you will thank yourself for not going off of the diet, like not getting fat. 'Cause I promise you, like after my first prep, like I hated the way I looked. All my confidence went. Like I didn't want to do anything. I stopped uploading on YouTube because of the way I looked. Like I ruined all of that because I binged, and that's not what you want to do. Just reach out to people. Keep yourself busy. That's the number one thing. Stay as busy as you can, and then also set yourself another goal. Start working to something straight away so you don't feel like you're empty, right? One of my clients, Adam, how to be more present when it comes to family / friends / partners, especially when in prep / camp. So Adam's actually in like a prep for his wrestling. He's actually a part of the GB team, which is really exciting. But good question, mate. And my reply to that is honestly just realize that you have put yourself in this situation, and you should never make the people around you pay for that. Like whether you get miserable, whether things get hard, do you think the person around you, like your partner or your family, chose for you to be in that position? Now that's not me saying I've been perfect, right? Like at the end of the day, I split up with my partner because of prep, right? And because of everything else. And I was probably not the best. Like I wasn't nicest to my family because I was really moody, but it was much better than my first prep. Like I said to myself, this one, like I am going to try my best not to complain. I'm going to try my best not to be moody. Nearer to the end, like in between the last two final shows is when it got really hard for me. But like I tried my best just to realize, hey, this is my decision. It's not their fault. They shouldn't have to suffer for it. I can stop this whenever I want. But then also just know life is still normal outside of all of this. So you've still got to be a good partner. You've still got to be a good son. You've still got to be a good brother, like whatever it is, right? Good friend. So just still create time for those people. You can always create time, no matter if you don't feel like doing it. There is always time, and it's important that you do create it. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and that gives you a little bit of advice on that. From one of my friends, Angie. When you go through periods where you can't train as much through work, etc., how do you cope? I don't, mate. Like, I don't go through those times because the gym is so important for me. I will always create that time. Like I just said at the start of this podcast, I work like easily, I don't know, say from, well, yeah, over 12 hours a day easily. I will always find time for the gym, always. Like, no matter what it is, like, if I have to go very, very late, I will, even though I don't. If I have to go really early because I've got plans, I will. Like, I'm in London for the whole weekend, this weekend coming up. I will just push my sessions a bit more forward so I can have 2 rest days on the weekend, or I'll find a gym to train at when I'm in London, like easy peasy. But then most important thing is I have a schedule that I stick to, right? No matter what, like I will go to the gym in the day because I know the gym benefits me in every single aspect. And no matter how much I don't want to go, no matter how badly I want to stay in bed or I've got so much work, I will get that work done and I will go, because there has never been a time in the existence of humanity where you haven't felt like going to the gym and then you end up going and you still feel shit after, or you like regret going, right? You are always happy that you ended up going. So for me, it's generally like I will do it no matter what. Like I will always fit it in. But you know, where work's extremely busy, that's where I will essentially just make my schedule better, make it tighter, do more work. Like it's hard to say. Like it's just about, there always is time. You just basically don't have to lie to yourself. Like when I was younger, I used to lie to myself a lot, being like, oh, I've worked a lot. I'm a bit too busy to go to the gym, but then I'd be sitting down for half an hour doing nothing. There's always periods of time where you do that. So get rid of those periods where you're doing nothing, get yourself to the gym. Boom. I know that's not really a good reply, but that's how I cope with it, right? From Aaron, who is currently a few weeks out from his show, future IFBB Pro, create a new Perform whey flavor. So who knows, maybe I'll have my own Perform flavor with whey protein flavor. But if I were to create any flavor, what would I be? He gave some cool suggestions, like some banana peanut butter or like some pastries. Like I love the sounds of those. But what would I have as a protein flavor? I would do a Perform flavor white chocolate caramel biscuit, probably. Like I think that one would be absolutely banging. Or like a white chocolate coconut, that would be insane. White chocolate coconut would be really good. I would also probably do, I love peanut butter, so anything, it would be more like a white chocolate peanut butter or a peanut butter blondie, like similar to Naughty Boy. Peanut butter, just peanut butter. That's a peanut butter flavor. That's a bloody ideal one for me. From Adam, rate all powders you have, core and whey. I'll give you my top 3 for both. So whey protein top 3, sweet and salty popcorn, carrot cake, white chocolate, and then cream of rice, white chocolate hazelnut, carrot cake, and cinnamon donut. Boom, easy peasy. That's what I'd say, because they've got over 40 flavors. That would take me way too long to rank. And then last question from C. Benjamin. I'm not sure. Do I know C. Benjamin? Let's see. I'm going to search him up on Instagram, because I feel like I just see the name, right? So I'm not too sure. C. Benj. Oh, he's not coming up. Double I. Oh no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he is. But regardless, the actual question itself was, do you use intracarbs? No, I don't use intracarbs. Never have used them, probably never will, just because I get enough carbohydrate stores through my pre-workout, and my training sessions aren't necessarily long enough to require intra-workout. I train for like an hour and a half. I go in, I get the work done, I train as hard as I can, and I grow. Simple as. I don't need to be in the gym for 3 hours for that. If I did train for 3 hours, then I probably would have intra-workout. But yeah, that's gonna finish off this episode 4. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Keep chasing your dreams, and just remember, don't listen to the people around you, because eventually, like once you get to a certain spot, people will be like, will support you, but just do what you want to do. Believe in yourself. Chase your own dreams, no one else's. Do what's right for you, obviously within the reason, obviously not without sacrificing the things that are important in life, whilst making sure you can still oblige or obligate yourself to your responsibilities, like what you actually need to do, like money wise and stuff. But like, just know everything's possible if you stay consistent, if you put in the effort, and just do the things that other people aren't willing to do, right? Say to yourself, do you want to be like everyone else, or do you want to be like Or do you want to be your own, right? Do you want to be great? Because a lot of people, first off, aren't willing to get coaches, aren't willing to train at the gym. So like all these things that you're already doing is already making yourself better than the rest of the people, right? You shouldn't compare necessarily, but just be like, compare yourself to yourself, right? Do you want to be the version of you that does this, or do you want to be the version of you that does that? And really speak it into existence. But the one thing I will end this off on is it's all good and well planning things and telling yourself you're going to do things and saying you want to be an online coach and learning about all these things and da 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 da. But if you don't put in the work and if you don't actually do it, then it means nothing. All that planning, all that positive talk, all that effort you say you're going to put in, if you don't do it, means nothing. So get to working, put in that work, and prove yourself wrong, prove others around you wrong. And then one day you look back on, maybe even this podcast or where you were when you started, and you'll laugh and think, wow, I've made it, right? So on that note, appreciate all the support from every single one of you. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I'll catch you for episode number 5 next week. As always, if you've got any questions for the next podcast, leave them down in the comments below. And stay happy.